Welcome to Kitchen Chat. This is where we sample the talents of the most notorious chefs, home cooks, foodies, and celebrities that sizzle. Get ready for a culinary journey that you won't find anywhere else. Here's the host of Kitchen Chat, Margaret McSweeney.
Welcome to the special series of Kitchen Chat, a taste of luxury, history, and hospitality. This is your host, Margaret McSweeney, and I'm so glad you're joining me on this delicious journey. Today, let's travel to the majestic Mendocino coast in Northern California, where we will visit Stanford Inn by the Sea, historic farm and eco resort. This is the only vegan hotel in North America. Stanford Inn is celebrating 40 years of offering holistic and enriching experience that combines luxury, sustainability, wellness, and natural beauty. You can explore the beauty on foot, by water, by bike, and you can even tour the gardens and pet the rescue llamas, donkeys, and horses who live on the property. Jeff and Joan Stanford are the owners, and they are passionate about guests enjoying the goodness of life. Well, please do not be intimidated by the fact that this is a vegan hotel with plant-based food. I was stunned by the culinary creativity of the dishes featured at Raven's Restaurant. Dishes with fresh from the garden ingredients. The garden on property has deep historical roots. More than a century ago on the hillside rising above the cliffs forming Mendocino Bay at the mouth of Big River, Chinese gardeners rented parcels of land to grow produce for the logging community of Mendocino. Joan and Jeff Stanford discovered this history after purchasing the property, and they have dedicated themselves to bringing the garden back to life with the delicious produce. In fact, Jeff says we think of ourselves as a garden with an inn rather than an inn with a garden. Join me as we explore the bounty and beauty of Stanford Inn, and let's visit the garden with Jeff Stanford.
This is our garden, and this is all, we actually created the garden based on principles that were established in Palo Alto by the ecology action of the Mid-Peninsula founder, and that's a man named John Jevons. We dug the first 5 beds and then by ourselves, and then we had help. We got people to help us do it. And the way we did it is we did double digging, which is taught by ecology action. Mm-hmm. And that brings a little bit of topsoil up and mixes it with that bottom clay that we're talking about that was stopping things from growing, and this became a very fertile place. And we use absolutely no pesticides, even if they're OMRI specified. In other words, they're acceptable for organic production. No pesticides or herbicides at all.
Amazing.
So you can see there are potatoes down there, and
yes,
we have mint there. Mint grows everywhere. That's a tree. The tree collards right there.
Beautiful.
Totally edible.
And what dish would you feature something like that in?
A tree collard I would probably use in a roll, like with rice and spices.
Yes.
And roll with it. I personally, I can eat it. You can just pick it and eat it, but they're pretty tough. Mm-hmm. But cooking them softens them a lot. And then the nasturtiums are edible. Those yellow flowers, most of the flowers through here are edible, so we serve them as garnish on dishes.
Beautiful. And so has this apple tree always been here? Was this on the property?
Oh, I have pictures of it from the 1890s.
Amazing. This tree, apples have been growing from this tree since the 1800s.
Yeah, well, not just
Amazing.
that, but all these trees over here, I'm pointing over here, they're pear trees. And those have been, they're winter pears, and they've been growing, and that's a pear tree over there. They've been growing since the same time. They were all planted, and according to the lore in the area, the trees were brought around the tip of South America, around the Horn they call it.
Yes, sure. But this is served on the menu. You use
the
these?
Apples we use, yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah. They'll be in an apple scone in pieces, cut up, and they'll be in apple crumbles and stuff like that.
And the sunflowers, how are they featured in some of the dishes?
Well, we do them for seeds, for the most part, and you can use the petals and stuff. They're all edible, but we also do that as habitat and as food for the birds, and we'll leave them up until they completely clean them all up.
I have to mention the restaurant here is Raven's Restaurant.
Yeah.
Why is it named that?
In 1995, we were visiting my dad in Carmel. He lived in Carmel Valley. I was talking to my wife, and he says, you know, if something ever happens to me, I'm coming back as one of the, he didn't know whether ravens or crows, but I really feel an affinity for these ravens, actually, and I'm coming back as one. That was like April 4th. On May 18th, he died.
Oh.
On May 31st, the first pair of ravens we'd ever seen here, because it had all been killed, showed up in one of those trees that looked like that.
Amazing. And
I have a picture of them that I took over the top of the pool, sitting there.
Amazing.
And this pair, and now there are hundreds, they chose to come back on the 31st of May, 1995. So we named it the Ravens Restaurant.
Oh, in honor of your late father. That's beautiful. What a beautiful story.
Animals. But anyway, just interesting. This is Pedro's garden, we call it. He's the head of landscaping here.
Fantastic.
That's him over there. This is traditional Mexican corn, the stuff that's getting to be about 12 feet high. It will reach that. This stuff's American corn, but it's sweeter. This other corn here, you really got to grind up. And that's a tomatilla. Here, you know that when you pull them apart, that's the fruit.
Beautiful.
Around there, and so they're a member of the tomato family, pepper family, and all.
Yes.
And then you cook these, and you make tomatilla salsa, or green salsa in Mexican foods. Okay. I'm showing them your tomatillas.
Smiley.
Yeah.
Say cheese.
So I'll show you a miracle plant.
Sure.
It's died off right now. Doesn't look great, but that's a gladiolus. And blooms twice a year, in June and December.
Wow.
I've never seen, you can see this is June's stem there. I have never seen a gladiolus bloom in the middle of winter, and it does.
Wow.
And then, you know, on the shortest day, and that's very weird, but that one does. And we just figured that since Joan's dad loved gladiolus and was head of the Gladiolus Society in Winnipeg for a while, here we have a glad, and we'll keep it there. We don't even know how it got here. Got to do it. So, what do you think that plant is there that's being dried out on the stem?
The yellow?
The yellowy plant. And there's also green over there, and there's darker yet. What do you think that is?
I'm not sure.
We'd do an experiment on this type of plant. It's quinoa.
Quinoa.
That's actually how quinoa grows. It comes in different colors of the flowers. And this is all going to seed, and then we dry it out, and then we can. But this is to see which is the most, vibrant in a cool coastal climate, and we found some.
And you can feel the energy. And now we're going to talk about tasting the energy from the delicious food that comes straight from the garden at this 100% vegan hotel.
Yeah.
The garden.
As much as we can, we do get from the garden, and that's a wonderful thing, because it's inspiring to see what you have growing, and then to think that that's actually coming to the table and coming into your body, and that we can't do everything from the garden. We still get things that we can't grow, and I think it's really important. I mean, probably a lot of your audience isn't, but a vegetarian or vegan. But I think it has to be something that you're not giving up. You're not making a concentrated effort to not do something. You're actually embracing something as a positive, like, oh, I'm going to try this, and it feels really good. I have more energy, or whatever.
Stanford Inn features a wellness center on property. Sid Garza-Hillman is the wellness programs director, and Joan Stanford offers an art therapy program.
My other hat is an art therapist, and so I finally found a way to integrate that whole side of myself into the inn by offering what I call play shops. And these are just 2-hour experiences, I guess, where I invite people to play with art materials, and it's very non-directed. Have like a smorgasbord of materials there, and the idea is that to have that little child, the very young child, before the child started noticing someone else could draw a horse better than they could, the very, very young child that just wanted to explore and discover. And if we can tap into that, it serves us our whole life to have that open curiosity and, well, what would it be like if I added this to that, and not be so concerned about the outcome. So that's what I hope to offer in my place chefs.
So on the cooking class and nutrition front, most of our guests here, interestingly, as the only vegan resort in North America, most of our guests are not vegan or vegetarian. And even those that are, there's a wide range of what you can eat when you're vegan, because vegan by definition just means no animal products. So what we're doing here at the resort is we're focusing mostly on whole plants. And that goes for the nutrition side of things and also the cooking side of things. So some people just come in and they do a cooking class just straight up, and I'll do, fun sauces, cashew ranch dressing, and a hemp sunflower ricotta cheese, or I'll do a trumpet royal mushroom crab cake, something like that. But others take a nutrition class solo and they learn the basics, and then they funnel into a cooking class, whatever. Either way, our classes, Jeff, Joan, and I crafted these classes and these wellness experiences with a main goal in mind, which is how do you take this information home and use it? We live in one of the most beautiful areas, I would argue, in the world, Mendocino Coast, and it is incredibly breathtaking. So there are trails aplenty. And one of the things that we offer here at the Stanford Inn, two things. We have these vacation packages, which are essentially private retreats. We have a few set date retreats, but these vacation packages are private retreats that somebody could book a stay any time of year. Say, I'm going to book a 3-night stay, and I'm going to attach this package on top. Well, one of them is called a guided hike, healthy hiking, and another one is called trail running for beginners. And these are usually, there's a nutrition class included, and sometimes a cooking, depending on the package that you attach to your stay. And it is private for you. So if you come with a group of friends, it's just you during the whole experience. It is one of a kind. The Stanford Inn, we are about personal and intimate and small. We love that kind of connection. We're not big groups. Even our set date retreats, I cap them at 8 people because I want people to have that kind of personal experience that you just can't get anymore. Joan and Jeff Stanford live on the property. That is a dying art. You just don't find that anywhere. And another thing I do that's really part of the Stanford Inn is I'm a race director of the Mendocino Coast 50K. It's a trail ultra marathon. It's 33 miles. And it sells out every year. I do zero promotion on it. It just brings people in from over 15 states, and last year UK, Japan, South Africa, and Canada. It is an incredible thing, but it's one of only 2 all-vegan ultras in the country, and the Stanford Inn and Resort, Joan and Jeff, are founding sponsors, and so we feed not just the runners. Joan and Jeff give food to everybody. You can show up and watch the race, and there's this incredible vegan food, and everybody loves it. I would say most runners are not vegan, but they have an incredible time, and they love the food, and it's really fun. And these are the kinds of forward-moving events better. And by having these events and having this resort in a way that keeps environmentalism and sustainability and compassion at the forefront means that we're doing things that most people aren't doing, and we're doing it in a fun way. And so
I love that Stanford Inn's mission statement focuses on providing a nurturing environment to guests, staff, and the community that will help individuals reclaim their life, purpose, and relationships with the land and each other. As Jeff and Joan are about to share, it's about experiencing joy.
You get to joy is you get rid of the conflicts in your life. When you pull potatoes out of the ground, you save some and you put them back in the ground. There's so many ways to work with nature in a very direct way where you're you're actually promoting the plant in terms of new growth, and then at the same time you're eating it. Tree falling.
And I just wanted to add one thing to when you said about the joy. I think most of us have so much going on in our lives, and and in the world, the bigger world beyond our little bubble world, that is difficult and challenging and worrisome and heavy. And so when we have an opportunity to provide just even a brief moment where somebody stops and looks around and takes a breath and thinks, this is an incredible world, even with all its troubles. It's an incredible world, and I'm this point of consciousness in it, and we want people to have that pocket where they can just step out of whatever their lives are, even really happy lives, but to really take that in with a grateful heart and want to make the world a better place. And so we're not trying to be do-gooders or anything, but we do feel like we've been so lucky to live here and to create this property that a lot of people respond to. And we want people to come here and leave feeling, you know, like Jeff said, like reinvigorated and like healthier and lighter and joyful.
Many thanks to Jeff and Joan Stanford and the staff at Stanford Inn for a gracious and delicious visit. Thank you to Chalkboard Communications for this opportunity, and thank you, dear foodie friends, for joining me on this journey. Please visit stanfordinn.com for more information and follow them on Instagram, Stanford_Inn. And please visit kitchenchat.info and follow Kitchen Chat on Instagram, where you'll find inspiration for your next destination. And always remember to take a moment and savor the day.